Hey, welcome everybody back to the hangar deck. And this is update number 7 for the EA-18G Growler. I have a question for you guys that may be in the know. I know that the nickname for the Hornet is the Bug, and the nickname for the Super Hornet is the Super Bug. So I was wondering, is the nickname for the Growler, the EA-18G, is it the Electric Bug? Just curious. Before I forget it, go Navy, beat Army. Today is Army-Navy game day, so it is one of the great traditions in my home to watch that game. And since my boys are grown up and gone, I usually watch it by myself, which that's fine. And I have one that is veteran Navy. He got out a year or so ago. I was Navy, and then I have another son that started out Navy and then went Army, and he is still serving. So we have the full spectrum for the Army-Navy game. Okay, update on the Growler. I got the top coat color on today or yesterday, and so it's this nice kind of darkish gray color, and then I will add the lighter color on the bottom. I may do something a little bit different on this. I may do a wet sand job on this and reshoot it. I don't know. It is it's pretty textured, so I probably didn't use quite enough air pressure when I painted, and but I don't know, I may leave it like it is. I haven't decided yet. Also, I got the AMRAMs and the harms done. Here's one of the AMRAMs, and also known as the AIM 120. And then got one of the harms, or got the harms done. Now I do need to paint the stripes on them. There's stripes on the harm, so got to do that. And I will probably do a little bit of weathering on these missiles, although not a lot. They're not subjected to the weather. You know, they're kept in a locker, obviously, so they're not subjected to the weather like the aircraft is. Here are some of the electronic jamming pods. There are actually, technically, I guess there's 3 different types. There's a high, according to the instructions, there is a high band and a low band. So I believe that means there are 2 high bands and 1 low band jamming pod. So, for those that don't know, the purpose of the Growler, and it took the place of the Prowler, which was based off the A6 body. The purpose of the Growler is to go in and jam enemy radar and communications. So typically what you would do is you would have a Growler or 2 or 3, you know, accompany a strike package, and they would jam enemy radar so that the air defense radar would not be as effective on the strike package. And then starting with the Prowler, they added the function of harm missiles with the jamming aircraft. So HARM stands for high-speed anti-radiation missile. So you think, okay, well, what do you mean anti-radiation? If we have a nuclear blast, we fire one of these and it takes care of the radiation? Well, no, not exactly. When a radar emits its signal, it is radiating. And so this missile can actually home in on that frequency and hit that dish or that radar director and destroy it or disable it. And it is effective against ground-based radar. It is effective against ocean-going radar. Like if you have a a spy radar on a ship that's looking for your aircraft, it can be destroyed. It's high speed because it is very fast, and supposedly, even after the radar has been shut down, it remembers where the radar was, and it will come in and hit that radar. The generation of these missiles began way back in Vietnam, and the first missile that was developed was called the ARM, which was anti-radiation missile, and it was based off the standard, and correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, it was based off the standard surface-to-air missile that was used by the Navy. And it was somewhat limited in its use. It had some limited capabilities, and it was heavy and it was big. And then that was replaced by what was called the Shrike. And the Shrike was way more effective, and it was effective to the point where if the NVA, the North Vietnamese, realized that a strike package was coming in that was protected by aircraft carrying Shrike, they would shut their radar down. Now, the Shrike was really good at following radar, but if it got shut down, then it went stupid, and it didn't necessarily find where the radar was. HARM corrected that, and of course HARM came out after Vietnam, but HARM was very effective in Desert Storm and was used quite a bit. So every system has a counter system. Every measure has a countermeasure. So I'm sure there's a countermeasure to HARM I just don't know about. And but anyway, I digress. So the aircraft is pretty well, the sub-assemblies, as you can see, are all together. The paint's starting to go on. I've got a lot of work left to do. I've got jamming pods that go on the wingtips that I haven't even started yet. I've got all the landing gear doors painted, got the missiles painted, got the main jamming pods painted with their pylons assembled, and now it's just a matter of painting and assembling and so on and so forth until I get all finished. Also have the fuel tanks assembled and painted somewhere. Well, I did have. Where are they at? Oh, they're over there. So, just to give you an example, here's the fuel tank. And so this thing here, for those of you that don't know, is the fuel tank, and this is the pylon. So, quick little note about this fuel tank. It doesn't do any good to just have a fuel tank hanging off of a pylon. That is just a bomb. I mean, literally. So along with that pylon, there has to be plumbing from the fuel tank into the pylon up into the wing. So that way the aircraft can draw fuel from the fuel tank. Now, my son was on a carrier, and he was a fueler, and there was a mission that Hornets flew, and it was called a 5-wide. And what a 5-wide is it was a Hornet, and it had 5 fuel tanks on it. So it had 4 on the wings and 1 on the center line. And then one of those fuel tanks, I think typically the one on the center line, had a drogue chute that came out of the back of it, and they could refuel aircraft from the carrier. That particular mission used to be completed by the KA-6, which was an A-6 aircraft that was converted to a tanker, and it was also completed by the S-3 submarine tracker. Now, I don't know if they called it the KS-3. I don't think they did. But both of those aircraft are no longer in the inventory. So basically, right now, the United States Navy has one aircraft and one aircraft only for all of its strike missions and refueling missions and what have you, and that is the FNA-18 in its various variants. So they have SH-60s, But those Seahawks, those aren't going to do refueling. They're not going to do strikes. They're for pilot recovery and plane guard and things like that, and anti-submarine warfare. And they have the Osprey coming online to replace the C-2 Greyhound. C-2 Greyhound was basically a mail truck, a delivery aircraft. So, but again, I digress, and I'm going way off the beaten path. But so that's your update for today. It kind of gives you an idea of where I'm at. I should get a lot of work done this weekend, and looks like next week I'm going to be home all week. Well, at night anyway, and won't have to travel, that's good. I think travel is winding down for me. I may have some family time that I need to take care of in the upcoming days, and we'll see how that goes. But that's, this is the fun stuff, the family stuff. That's fun too, but that's an obligation. This is not. Even though sometimes I feel like it is. But okay, I've been very long-winded today. I see by the timer I've talked over 11 minutes, and hopefully it's been something that you guys gleaned a little bit from. So thanks for dropping into the hangar deck. I really appreciate it. By the way, I am boiling mad. Not really. But I noticed that I have a little over 212 subscribers, so that is very flattering to me. I know that's a fraction of some of the guys that have followers, but it's a big deal to me. And I really appreciate the fact that people have taken the time to hit that subscribe button. And it makes me honored that somebody is listening to what I have to say. And I'll try to always... Oh, by the way, speaking of steering you straight, I got corrected on something. I had mistakenly called the guy in the back the Rio, which he is not a Rio. A Rio is a radar intercept officer. The guy in the back in the Growler is an EO, EWO, or electronic warfare officer. So I haven't been corrected, which is good. This is not a bad thing. And so thank you. You know who you are, that left a comment on one of my very first updates, and I appreciate that. And I suspect that you may have had a career in naval aviation, so I salute you for that. All right, that's it. And from the hangar deck, I really appreciate you dropping in. And when you leave the hangar deck, please observe all rotor blades, observe prop wash, and beware of the jet blast. Be careful out there. Have a great weekend, and we'll update you again. Take care.